Sometimes the deepest connections are made when we least expect it. Today, we're diving into a story about how a huge global crisis actually helped heal a very personal one, and how an empty kitchen became the very heart of a home all over again.
It all kicks off with a phone call, the kind filled with pure panic. A young man is trapped in the massive city of Chennai. He's on the phone with his mother, and you can just hear the desperation in his voice. The world is literally shutting down around him, and he is completely and totally stranded.
So, what's going on? Well, the situation is pretty serious. A 48-day nationwide lockdown has just been announced. His hostel is kicking everyone out, every restaurant is closed, and all the trains and buses have just stopped. He has absolutely nowhere to go.
And that's when his mom says something that it feels impossible. She brings up the one door in the world he feels is shut for good. She says, "Why don't you go to Valley's?" Valley, his estranged wife. The idea is so jarring he almost hangs up right then and there.
So you've got to be wondering, right? Why was that idea so unthinkable? What could have possibly happened to drive these two people so far apart? Well, believe it or not, the answer is in their kitchen. Or maybe the lack of one.
Their whole conflict was just fundamental. See, for Volley, who was this high-flying software engineer, cooking was a total waste of productive time. To her, it was this old-fashioned burden that women had been stuck with for centuries. Her ideal was a sleek, minimalist, empty kitchen. But for him, cooking was connection. It was the taste of home. It was how you showed you cared. A full pantry wasn't clutter. It was life itself. They were basically living in two different universes, just under the same roof.
And the symbol of this huge clash, it came down to a sack of rice. And not just any rice. We're talking about Mappalai Samba, this incredible heritage rice from Tamil Nadu. Its name literally translates to bridegroom's rice. It's this food that's all about family and strength and tradition.
So here's where it all came to a head. His mom sent them a sack of this deeply symbolic rice as a gift. For him, it's a beautiful piece of home. But for Volley, in her hyper-efficient world, it was just useless clutter. The fight they had over that sack of rice was their last one. He packed his bags and moved out. And soon after, the divorce papers were filed.
Which brings us right back to the present. He's on that deserted street in Chennai. He has no plan, no options. So he just starts walking, completely lost in the eerie silence of a city that's basically gone to sleep. And then something totally unexpected happens. His phone rings, and you'll never guess who it is. It's Volley. Turns out his mother had called her right after their conversation. Volley doesn't even wait for him to respond. She just says, "Send me your location." A few minutes later, she pulls up, and soon they're riding up to her 18th floor apartment in complete, deafening silence. Now, this reunion is anything but warm. I mean, it is ice cold. He's greeted at the door with a full-on spray of disinfectant. His luggage gets quarantined in a bucket, and his bed for the night, a spot on the living room floor. They're not a husband and wife anymore. They're just two strangers trapped in a tiny apartment by a global pandemic, with so much history hanging in the air between them. But, a crisis has this funny way of tearing down all the carefully built walls we put up. It forces you to face reality. And for them, being trapped like this, it was about to become the turning point they never knew they needed. As the days of lockdown drag into weeks, Valley's whole way of life, her entire philosophy, just starts to fall apart. Her perfectly efficient system, the one built on ordering every single meal, it's completely useless now. The restaurants are closed, the delivery apps are dark. For the first time, probably in years, she is totally on her own. Then one day, he notices she's looking really frail, really unwell. So he gets up to get her a glass of water from the kitchen. Yep, the same room that tore them apart. And as he walks in, he just stops. He stops dead in his tracks because he cannot believe what he is seeing. He had discovered her secret. The kitchen, which was once this empty, sterile space, was different. There were new pots and pans, an induction stove. The fridge was actually full of fresh vegetables. There were little jars of lentils and grains. And then he saw it. Tucked away in the corner was the exact same sack of Mappalai Samba rice that had ended their marriage.
He comes back with the water, and he's about to just leave her be. But then Valley speaks.
And in this quiet, really vulnerable voice, she asks him a question that changes absolutely everything. Will you cook for me before you go? And that was it. That one simple, honest question. That's all it took. The ice between them finally started to crack. Their road to reconciliation wasn't some big, dramatic moment. No, it was found in the quiet, simple, everyday act of making a meal together.
So how did they do it? It started with his mom, teaching them old family recipes over WhatsApp video calls. Then they started actually working together, just chopping vegetables side by side, in a comfortable kind of silence. And pretty soon, they were sitting down and sharing their very first home-cooked meal. That kitchen, the room that was once their battlefield, was slowly but surely becoming a place of healing.
By the time that long 48-day lockdown finally came to an end, that sack of bridegroom's rice was completely empty. But for the first time in a very, very long time, their lives felt full again.
But just when you think it's all resolved, bam, a harsh reminder of the past shows up in the mail. It's the final notice from their divorce lawyer. But things were different now. A lot different. Because during all those days of isolation, their little family of two had quietly and unexpectedly become a family of three. You can just picture it. The two of them standing there together, reading those cold legal words on the page. And then, without even hesitating, they took that notice, and together they tore it into little pieces. The room that had once divided them had, in the end, brought them back together for good. So their story really leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about, doesn't it? In this crazy modern world of ours, a world that is so obsessed with productivity and efficiency, what is the real, a truly immeasurable value of just slowing down and sharing a meal?